Hey y'all. So it's been a while, and I figured I would record this video while I have an empty house and nobody's here to disturb me. So I went through what I am calling now my midlife crisis episode, early onset midlife crisis, at the beginning of the year. And it was due to a realization of my own observations of personal consumer habits, consumerism habits. And so the the transformative mental state of, going through and analyzing, just seeing what do I want to change, um, that took its emotional toll on me. Obviously, making the decision to quit uploading videos to my channel, which, if you check it out now, I don't know how many of you guys are still active in, my subscriber count is one thing, but my engagement is completely different story. But and I know, there's at least one of you guys out there that are actively commenting. I thank you for that and for the engagement. And I know how much people have commented, especially if they follow me on another platform, at how they would miss my content. I've shared some other videos posted, of content that I thought would be informative, educational, compelling, just to those who are curious as I am about aspects of history and culture and identity and community, right? I'm looking for my honey. Where is my honey? But this will be a no edit video. There we go. Okay. um, I have achieved somewhat of an engagement on the TikTok platform, but it's nothing like what this channel used to be. As far as content type goes, I know that I've kind of fluctuated and have uploaded some tea content, and I do have another tea channel, which if you haven't subscribed it, you could probably find me. And it's just more so reviews, but I wanted this space. You know, uh, my passion is tea right now at the moment. Since the beginning of the year, I also have not really been as productive with artwork either. I haven't even, really sold any earrings this year. Um, and so, undergoing this, I'm approaching my mid 30s. I'm 33, and I've been married 6 years. I guess I just reached the point at the beginning of the year. My mentality transformative state was taking an alternative perspective and view on what living life is, right? And what I want to get out of how I interact with other people. And just through the turmoil on a national scale and on a community scale of all these events that are occurring around me, and how active I was as as a voice of advocacy, of representation. I don't know. It it's it's been an emotional journey. My physical health, my gut health was impacted heavily by just due to the stress. Um, I underwent a little bit of a mild depression. It wasn't severe enough to where I would still get up out of bed every morning. I would go to work every morning, but I had to communicate to my team that I needed support and I needed a break every now and then. It was at a point where when you hit a decent low and you need sunlight, you crave sunlight, and that was what I was doing. I before I would start my workday, I would find a place where sunlight was entering and shining through uh, a window, or we have one whole wall that is completely glass paneled, so like I would stand there as the sun was rising above the mountains, and I would just let that sunlight soothe me. um, I'm over it. I went through it with the help of a lot of Chinese herbal medicine remedies. It helped. But I got a book on modern adaptations to traditional Chinese medicine, and I studied that a little bit. Did a little bit of my own research, and it's really interesting, especially considering you know, tribal remedies and how as Native people we look at healing and that was really grounding. Is turning to a resource because there were people who were like, oh well, you might have this condition, you might have that condition, and I was quick to not really overindulge. People who say, "Oh well, I have this condition. You might have this," or if because I was reaching out for help. I was posting on another platform and asking for just insight of like, hey, these are my symptoms, what do you think I should do, or if you have any recommendations, and other people were quick to automatically diagnose me, um, which I turned to a form of a resource that was culturally relevant or at least parallel to my traditional upbringing and traditional philosophy toward healing. And so I got a book on traditional Chinese herbalism practices and gained some insight, and it was really interesting, and incorporating all these different ingredients into my teas and herbal remedies and forming habits, which I'm realizing now, like, oh, I stopped drinking this tea as much and this tea. So I started, slowly, steadily trying to work their way back into my tea drinking habits. Um, but what I want to do going forward with this channel is still being able to connect with those who are engaging, still having those important conversations pertaining to identity and community. Um, but I think I want to take a different approach. And that was something that I communicated before, I said I wasn't going to upload anymore, or I said I was going to stop making content. I didn't say that, if it was going to be indefinite or not. But I know that having a voice, sharing a voice, and potentially, even if it's small, still having a platform, I know is kind of still important to, again, that representation, to having other people consider alternative perspectives, or at least being willing to learn and listen from my perspective and from my experiences. Um, oh, wow, that is so sweet. I am having pu'er tea with roses. That's why it is so dark. Pu'er tea is really good because it has probiotics in there, so it's really, really good for gut health. But yeah, this is my channel now. I kind of want to do content related to enjoying a tea, having a tea session, and those who are interested, obviously you guys can leave comments and stuff like that. I've already uploaded 2 videos sharing my tea making process of different teas. That is so good. I put rose petals in with this, so it's nice and sweet, but and soothing and smooth. Um, I want to continually have discussions. The only issue, though, is that I'm not sure what my engagement here on this platform is. How many of you guys are actually watching? How many of you guys are wanting more content? Um, the format I'm thinking of going forward with this channel is Tea Time with JD. Um, that's pretty much just what I wanted to get on here and share with you guys. It's just a little life update where I'm at. I I came to the realization, that me no longer being in my 20s, I'm not a kid anymore. And so, but also like reevaluating what I valued internally. And so I pulled the plug and hit the brakes really harshly at the beginning of the year. I deleted so much of my online profiles, and I'm talking like consumer apps. I used to shop on eBay. I used to get stuff off of Poshmark. And I ended my Prime membership. I ended 3 streaming platforms, and now I have the bundle package of just, I have one payment, but I technically have 2 streaming platforms. Um, it's, I guess I just hit that moment in my life where I was like, okay, I need to switch things up. I need to change. I need to switch. I need to shift. and it was to my consumerism habits. um, I go back to work in a week, and so I'm ready to be productive again. But yeah, it's I've had to digest and contemplate a lot, or at least just and I'm not pressuring myself to, oh, you need to do this. That's one thing that I think I did well for myself over this summer. Is I didn't force myself into productivity, or like, even though I want and I'm desiring to get back into X, Y, and Z, I wasn't harsh on myself. I've been really extremely patient with myself, and that's what it is. Been more or less this year. But it's a whole new experience for me because I've never experienced an emotional slump like what I went through at the beginning of the year. It lasted for about 3 months. I had some probiotics, the Chinese herbal remedies. They fix the physical stuff, and then from there it was more clear. The one thing I have been doing though is I have been running or walking, just due to the 100+ degree weather we've been having here. So I guess that's the one thing, productive thing that I've been doing, is being consistent with my miles. I'll average 10 miles a week. So yeah. But given recent events and just how situations are unfolding and how communities are still continually taking a stand, um, I guess I just want to continue to offer my reflections pertaining to certain situations. But I don't know. We'll see. I want to be patient with myself. I'm not going to punish myself if I don't have frequent uploads. Um, but there was a different type of engagement that I got here on this platform. It was more genuine than, I guess. I get more frequent interactions on the TikTok app, but it is nothing like what it was, again, a decade ago, 15 years ago, right? On this platform. And maybe that won't come back. And maybe that's just still something that I'm having to digest and, accept. But I have missed the interactions. So we'll see. And yeah, I know there are some people out there who still ask, probably wondering, and there's some people of you who interact with me out in the public too. You'll recognize me, you'll come across me. And it's really brief. It's really brief, but I do appreciate those who do recognize me in the public spaces. It's rare, but people will still approach me. Um, I've been reading a lot too over the summer. Which is really, really surprising that my husband mentioned, is that I purchased more books than he has over the summer, which is not normal. So, I've been reading books pertaining to tribal history. There's a lot of literature that has been printed on my people, on my tribe, on community members, and so I'll talk about a person that's mentioned in the book, and I'll go to my parents, and they'll know who it is. So that's what I've been doing this summer, being patient with myself, consuming tea, um, reading a lot, running, and so I'm ready to get back into a routine. So this is my life update for you guys. I hope you are well. I hope you have been handling all of this drama okay. And the number one thing that I've mostly been doing too, why I've been reading a lot, is just taking those emotional breaks. Taking those emotional breaks, because the algorithm on some of these apps is nuts. It's insane. Um, so, if anything, my message in this video: be patient with yourself. Give yourself some grace. And it's okay to take a break. It's okay to step away for a while. You deserve to take care of yourself more than anything right now. Because if you're not taken care of, then how are you going to be able to pitch in, to what your community needs, what your family needs, what your friends need, right? Whoever your network is, you can't contribute to that if you are not you know, at a level of competency or a level of stability. If you yourself are not stable, how are you going to help stabilize other situations? That's really what it is. I got through. I'm not in an emotional slump anymore. It was bad enough to where, I recognized my body needed nutrients. I was eating, but it was like I was not enjoying eating. Um, but if anything, the takeaway that I'm getting from this experience, and it was all internal. It was all internal, right? There was no really external crisis, and in terms of gratitude of how my life is going, what my struggles are, what my situations are. It's nowhere near what a majority of people struggle with, right? I have a roof over my head. Um, I don't have a steady income yet because I've been out of work for the summer, but I was financially stable enough in order to handle what I needed to handle over the summer months. So it's like I had no really major big life impacts. It was all up here, other than just getting older, which doesn't stop. So yeah, I've emotionally just been riding the wave. Mentally, I have gotten after myself and to stop, because what I would do at first was I would try to intellectualize my emotions, and that isn't healthy as well. And so, if anything, the experience has given me more patience and more understanding for those who are communicating, oh, this is what I'm thinking, or this is what I'm going through. If you have, anxiety, if you have fear, if you have sadness or depression, like, I know what the experience is to feel a certain way where it impacts your habits, it impacts your sense of motivation, right? Um, but thankfully for me, I work in an environment where it's not necessarily a toxic one. So getting to work was my distraction. Getting to work was helping. Coaching was my distraction. Coaching was helping. It was a sense of routine. It was my way of feeling productive. But in that personal time for a brief moment in that personal time was when, the bed just felt comforting. Um, I wasn't hungry, but I knew I needed to eat something. But I wasn't appreciating the food as much as like how you do. So having undergone those experiences, I'm taking it and having come out the other side. I am taking those experiences as teachable moments. Was it fun? Not necessarily, but you know, it gave me a deeper understanding of when people communicate with me of how they're feeling. I kind of at least will have a sense of familiarity with those types of emotions. Um, and I think it's really mature of myself too to realize overthinking your emotions is not the way to get through them. You have to embrace them. You have to accept them. You have to feel them, because so weather through that storm, and that's how you make it through. And then just reflecting on community habits, generational habits of how people abuse certain substances just for the purpose of avoiding confronting certain emotions. You know. Um, so yeah. This got a little bit deeper, but I just wanted to share and be honest with those of you guys who have been subscribed for years, right? I've had this channel for over a decade. You guys have been with me ever since I was 22 years old, 21, 22. So yeah, and I'm in my 30s now. So leave your comments. Let me know how you guys are doing, and if vertical format is an issue for you or not. I will probably just be doing unedited videos for now, because it's just so much work. After moving to TikTok, you just record and upload. It's that simple. I don't know if I could ever get into the productiveness, production, studio editing stuff. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Um, and let me know on past content. Was it really helpful? Do you think it's still relevant? Should I still make it public? I'll be selective about what I make public again, but do you think I should leave it public, or do you think, since I'm rebranding everything, since it's a fresh, like, restarting everything, should I go forward with, you know, don't bring up what the past was, just continually moving forward, and whatever I upload from here will be made available. Let me know. Thank you for watching.